We are live. All right, we're in the comments and everything. Here's something to make everybody's day better.
Get it going.
Well, it looks like we're there. It's playing. Matt's on, so it's on there. As we get started, Mrs. McGolf is trying to,
which was spectacular.
Different shirt, so
And,
that's not you.
and what
The
they're
other one.
probably doing is kind of trying
listening to
recreate
me.
that.
She's trying to get on there.
Counterbalancing. It's basically you're moving.
Everybody doing okay out there? So let's get started. Finding what's in the drawers. We'll start with that one. Again, I found another one. This one actually was finished. If you guys remember what I was sending you last time, that's what happens when they sit in there. This is a ladies' club. And then that's where the brown was right there. That's it. You might want to turn off the video. The video on the volume on the top.
I did that already.
Apparently not.
If you guys remember what I was
Okay. Stop laughing at me.
I am laughing right at you. There we go. Let's go back to that. Alrighty, so some more of what we found in the drawer is I got into an admin drawer this time around. And advanced fitting school, this is what I taught. Taught an advanced fitting school, and they taught a business school for the Professional Club Makers Society, which was out of Louisville, which is now defunct. And but we used to have it in Louisville down there at the Galt House. If you guys ever get a chance to go to the Galt House, it is pretty doggone nice. Look at that. A 70. Matt, you're killing me. A friend of mine gave me some of these these are from, you can see, 1990. That's one of the newer ones. Club makers. And this one, I do this one because this one fitting was starting to take shape. And you see it says custom fitting golf clubs, and would these two people wear the same size stuff? So it's pretty neat how this stuff came about. Man, we got the Pacific Northeast and Northwest now.
No, same guy.
Same guy? Oh, no, Pacific Northwest. Okay. And then kind of give you an idea, here's some of this was in the 90-91. That's what the guys looked like back in the day. This was the Professional Golf Club Makers Group, the Professional Golf Club Repairmen's Association. And there were some pretty tough guys. This is still during the Woodwood era. And then here was another one of custom fitting. And it's funny, some of the stuff that you can still go through, you know, you do test your knowledge and stuff. Now, here was one that looks like a Golf Works studio, and then some of the stuff they were using in the day. So pretty impressive stuff. Even back then they were getting it done. We got Mr. John from Chicago in. Awesome. And then lastly is I even took one of the very first PFC, Performance Fitting Centers, and that was from that's True Temper. However, a lot of it was rifle. They did a lot of the rifle, and then it became secondary to the other stuff. So some pretty neat stuff. Hey, we got another one from Tennessee. Allen's from Tennessee. And we're back in Ohio. Ready to go, Bill. And uh, again, it kind of takes us towards the fitting, right? And in the 90s, that was really when custom fitting took off. And that's because the QA on the equipment was so bad, right? From the OEMs, it was just so bad. I can't tell you how many times we looked and you would get a ladies flex club and it would be extra stiff, and vice versa. And it was terrible. And that's the reason why you could take it to a custom fitter or a custom builder, and all of a sudden your gear worked really well. And including that, during even that time frame, was the era of the bore through clubs. So the Titleist clubs, the Callaway clubs, they're all bore through, and it wasn't a real easy repair either. I had one sitting up here, my little white one. There it is. And so the combination of poor QA and some fairly difficult repair, it sprung forth this particular genre of golf, in that you had the fitting and then your repair. The unfortunate part about it was, from the fitting department side, there really wasn't a lot of technology other than a guy watching you to say, yeah, that's better than this. And it was hunt and peck versus see a number, know what was going on, like it is today, in order to do that. So it was really good. And man, we're getting them in there now. Uh, and then we'll get started. So that's where it takes us, right? And we've been doing a lot of the fitting has been a real promotional thing for us, where once you do a good job and you get recognized that you're going to do a good job, that the stuff just keeps spinning. The people just keep coming. I've got a couple of people that are scheduled from the state of New York after everybody opens, and so we'll be good to go. So we'll take we'll start doing some questions. From Atlanta, Georgia, Steve. So getting started in club fitting, it was club fitting and club making, so to speak, in that I just got done coaching baseball and I was into woodworking, and I decided golf was going to be it for me. And so I went out golfing, and the kids, I have two boys, and they saw me golfing and said, Dad, I really want to go golfing. So I got them both sets of golf clubs like any dad would most likely do. And we went out and we all had a good time beating the ball around, because none of us knew we were very good. And they had in 6 months, they had a growth spurt. Well, none of the clubs fit all of a sudden. And I have one is a lefty and one is a righty. So that was just just an expense I was going to start off. Well, one of my woodworking buddies said, "Hey, you could put those together yourself." Like, get out of here. So one class led at Golfsmith led to a class at Golf Works, which led to certifications at the Professional Club Makers Society, which led to the ICG, which led to Golf Digest, and the whole nine yards. So therein lies that. The funny part about what you see here is we had a shop out on the highway that I was working out of my garage, like most people get started. And the other job that I worked for was starting to lay people off. And well, the first time, Mrs. McGolf stopped working for the judge, and so we started in the business there. And then my job started being impacted, and we bought this property and had this built. As it turned out, they never laid me off. So I'm a dual job kind of guy. All right, Matt. How the shop was created and how it changed throughout the years. Well, the funny part was I really, like most people, I read the Clubmaker's Bible, and that one's from Ralph Maltby, and it's a big red book, and in there it talks about building a shop, and it's more about an island series, about an island. So you make this big square in the middle of your shop, and you're doing most of your work on it, and then there's cabinetry all around the outside, and that's your auxiliary stuff, where you might hold all your supplies, where the drying happens. But all that work, all the work is in the middle, and all the measuring and supplying is on the outside. Well, we kind of had that, and then I visited a tour trailer. And when I got on the tour trailer, hey, Cincinnati, when you get on a tour trailer, it was different. Because of space, it was dirty side, clean side, and you walk down the middle. Well, you're only a, a step apart, and then trailers got bigger, and then the island showed back up. But in a retail situation, a shop is, although it's a moneymaker, you don't want to be so big because it gets dirty. People can walk into it and stuff. So we kind of keep it smaller. And I stayed in a tour trailer setup in order to do that. So one side that I have is all measuring, and the other side is the cutting and the grinding and stuff like that, and along with the drawing. So there you go. So thank you, Matt. Bill's a Golf Works grad. Jim is a class act, man. So I like him. We got Kurt Leemaster. Could you give me an idea on the FX shaft for an 87 mile an hour moderate swing? I know fitting is best, but is the lockdown's getting us all, bud. I hear you. So in most every cases, if you're in moderate and you're 87, you're on that cusp between the regular and the A flex, between an M2 and M3. Now, it depends. Now, again, like every other good golf answer, it really depends on a lot of other things. If you want middle of the road everything, middle launch, middle field, middle everything, it's the red, and you go with a 60-gram red in an M2. However, if you like a lighter shaft, or like a little bit, a little more height, then the blue. And if you're get aggressive or you want a lower ball flight, then it would be the yellow. And then and if you're looking for a little more swing speed, you might want to hang out in that 50-gram range. Although as you start climbing, like in the yellow, I don't believe they make a 50-gram. They only start at 60 and go up. Where in the red, there's a real possibility for it, and for certain in the blue. So it's kind of a blue high, red medium, yellow low. And the FX is quite a great shaft, by the way. All right. I'd like to get fitted for a new driver. I'm still hitting the old KZG driver with a stiff shaft. Need a regular. Well, KZG made good stuff. It really did. It's unfortunate we just stopped getting along. But they have a very, very wide range of irons and a couple of really nice milled putters. But it's one of those things around here. It just didn't quite go. And we got Ricardo from Cincinnati. Way to go, man. Glad you're on. All right. What else we got here? Trying to move things around a little bit. There we go. We saw where Matt shot a 70. Dog. Hey, that reminds me. So you guys saw the very beginning of my building my clubs, right? And I've got the next installment that should go out as early as maybe tomorrow. But I want to show you the last bit. I finished them. And that'll be the third installment, so you guys get to see it just a little bit beforehand. And there she be. All right, 1102 forge for the lefties. You see the 36 in there. And the KBS TGI 95s. I thought it might be a little bit too much for me, but I really like it. And then my golf pride got to have the green. So I don't know if we're going to call this a Christmas club or what, but looks pretty good. Matt, what do you think? Right there. It's not necessarily as tight as I'd like it, but that's a heck of a good start. And I'm right there with all the other clubs I've hit in the past, so we're in pretty good shape. So I did a test. My pitch and wedge and my 6-iron need work. The rest of them are doing pretty good. So there you go. Here we go. We got another one here. What's your take on graphite putter shaft, stroke lab stability shaft, and the others? Okay, so this one is when we talk about graphite putter shafts, we'll talk Acra makes some, and they're in various weights. And as they get various weights, they get more stiff. And that seems to be the trend. The stability shaft, the stroke lab shaft, the BGT, or the stability from BGT. They're all about being stiffer and for greater control. And that's because back in the day during the Anzer, you had a certain weight and it was lighter than it is today. Back in the day, you had about a what was it? A 320 head. I think that's what it was, a 320 head. And the 320s, where that was your typical Anzer. And the greens were kind of hairy at that time frame. And so you had to really give it a whack or to roll. Well, now in today's day, where the greens are very manicured, they're very fast, even at municipals, right? You get a pretty good roll going. And so what they've done is they've made the heads heavier in order to make the head stable, in order for our swings to stay stable with a little more weight. Well, now what's happening is they're making the shafts really stable, and in order for it not to turn off. It has merit. It does. It has merit. The Stroke Lab. Now, when I say all this stuff, keep in mind I am a Callaway guy. The Stroke Lab at the bottom end is the steel, and the top end is the graphite. And what they've done is they've thrown the balance point down towards the head. When everybody's like, "Oh, it makes the head feel heavier," that's true, but not everybody needs it. It's more of a balance. So they've been injecting a 70-gram-ish weight in the back of the shaft to balance it out. So there is some weight in the back of your hand, and it gives it this really nice, smooth feel when you putt. And the whole idea is they talk about your backstroke being very consistent, the height of the putter and the backswing being very consistent, and using the Capto, that's true. And it does tend to work out very well. Now, and so there is something to that. Now, it could very well just be that it's back weighting, because we've been doing that since the late 90s. And there is back weighting. It allows you to do that. However, there is something to be said about all that balance point down there. Now, the stability shaft works basically in the same fashion, except for it's not as radical in its look, right? It's just basically all the same thing, a little fatter. The prelude to all of this that everybody forgets was the UST filtered putter shaft. That thing was, if that thing came out now, it'd be brilliant, right? But it was first, and it was kind of ugly, but it worked. And now it is what it is, but you'll never see that again. Now, what they showed us at the PGA show, I would think that in the we'll call it within the year, we'll see KZG releasing something that's very similar. So hopefully that helped you, bud. Let's see. Let's get that going. Let's go back up here. All right.
You think of the C1 putters.
Yep, we're getting here. Can you recommend a shaft for a hybrid slow swing profile, swing 80 and 90, carrying 185? So hybrid shafts, I really dig on hybrid shafts. You want specific hybrid shafts. Right now, if you were in line, if you had a 60-gram driver shaft and you're doing very, very well, then 80 would be it. However, if you're slower, you might actually go a little lighter, right, into a 70-gram profile. And between 80 and 90, probably the low end of the regular range. Now, if you're really looking to snap it into the air, you might look at if you want one more Players Tour kind of like, maybe a Catalyst would be a good one. Again, I'm back into Acura, but right down the middle of the road, their I-Series is there, right? And we just became a VA dealer, right? A VA Composites, and they have hybrid shafts as well. And I believe they have one in the Sleigh, which is that high launching type shaft. It's the blue with this really cool graphics on it. And then they have another one that's a little bit more boring trajectory, but something in that 75-ish, maybe something that flexes out in the low regular range, would probably work out for you, and that hopefully that works out. Yeah, I like the pattern too, Matt. Here's one. What do you think about Seymour putters, Mr. Warren? Uh, like most things in golf, I don't think there's anything particularly bad. It's just ill-fitted, or maybe even ill-built, right? Those two things can really destroy the reputation or the quality of the way it works. Seymour has where if you had that shaft, let me use this, you had that shaft in the head that you wouldn't be able to see if you were lined up correctly. Uh, if you were lined up correctly, you wouldn't see the lines behind the shaft, and that gets you to square. It's a very good alignment tool. It's one on tour, and I'm told, I've not hit one, but I'm told that it actually feels pretty good. It's supposed to be a milled head and very simple. I mean, it's a bar, right? The first one was just a bar, and you swung in the middle of it. And for those that are very, we'll call carpenter-like, where that makes a whole lot of sense, that doesn't, or that doesn't, or any of that kind of looking doesn't, then yeah, that's a great little putter. Oh, wow. All right. Way to go, guys. Thank you for coming on. Best game improvement iron on the market. Again, I'm gonna fall back to the fitted ones. However, if we're just looking at game improvement, right? Meaning that you got some sort of correction that needs to be done, and you're looking for. I'll give you a kind of, and again, it's going to be the people that I carry, with maybe a few others, but certainly the Maverick, right? The Callaway Maverick is a great game improver. It's very strong in its loft, medium amount of offset. To me it appears compact, but it really isn't. It's taller than it is longer. I tend to like that. The options that come with it are very, very nice. Now, the other one is if you're a big monster divot taker, you might look at the Wilson D7, right? The D7 standard has a lot of offset where the D7 Forge does not. That's always a possibility to look at as far as game improvement goes. Here, as of late, the Mizuno Hot Metal, right? Mizuno Hot Metals are pretty popular right now, and they do hit a ton. From personal experience, I've did some testing, and they do get out there pretty good. Another good game improvement one out of the guys that I probably don't carry is the Ping. Ping makes a pretty good iron as well, and there's nobody ever going to tell them that they don't, right? But those are the ones that work pretty good. All right. Nick, what do you think about Scotty Cameron Phantom X putters? Oh no, man, come on. All right, so I think let's start at the beginning. I think the feel from a Scotty Cameron in the original time frame, we're talking the circa 62 putters, right? And going forward, those types of putters have a feel that it's all their own, right? Even his answer lookalikes, the small mallets, whatever, all those that are the forged milled have a feel all their own. And the fact that he gave customer service, the reason why I put Scotty on the map, and he's wildly successful and good for him. The Phantom X putter, I'd have to think about what we're talking about. If it's if it's the big, the one that's kind of he's trying to do has a head shape like that, or is the one with the curve on the back? The one in the curve in the back I thought was a Futura, and the Futura is aluminum, and which is kind of a different take than his. And it has a soft feel, but I'm not a fan of aluminum when it comes to the striking face. It is very soft, but it also damages so easily. But if it's the other one that was like this, I just had one in here the other day. It's not a bad look, but I'm not real big on all these different angles that are going on, because the outside of the putter also aids in the alignment. And I like stuff straight up. Even if it's got a curve, you can get away with a curve as long as there's alignment lines. So, asking me, But again, the thing is, if you're dropping putts like nobody's business with it, then it's perfect. All right. I'd like to see is it retake someone's current driver and refit it. Well, you know what? I've done that. We do that quite a bit because drivers are expensive, right? And a reshaft or at its simplest, sometimes what we've had is just cutting it down and re-gripping it, and because they're adjustable, making a degree tweak or whatever, it certainly happens. And every driver fitting does not result in a new driver. It might result in a driver reshaft, because a lot of the OEM reshaft or OEM shafts aren't as good as the aftermarket. And I'm sure I know there's been some YouTube videos out there on people doing that, where the aftermarket versus what came in the club, and they're two different pieces of equipment. To the point, I did that when, if you guys remember Mitsubishi, when they first came out and they had the blue board, the red board, and the white board. And the blue board was the Nike clubs were using the whole entire paint job of the blue board, but it had a little bitty code off to the side, and it wasn't the same code, and that made it an OEM shaft, not an aftermarket. And I had a fella come in and wanted that exact shaft, and I tried to tell him that it was not going to work. Had to have it, so I put it in, and it's a $350 shaft even back then. And he came back and said I couldn't hit it. And I said, well, dude, I told him as he was walking out the door that was going to happen. And then so we had to go back and do something else. Matt, I do like the Acra family of shafts myself. All righty. Oh, we got Warren asking a question again. Hold on. Here we go, Warren. What do you think about PXG Mira golf clubs? Are they worth the money? Well, Mira at the time was the most expensive golf club you could buy until PXG showed up and got on the scene, right? And now they're, as far as irons, but if you look at their drivers have come way down in price, and I think that was to compete, right? I think it was to compete. And because if you got $500 drivers out there going this far, and you got $700 drivers going out there this far, what are you going to pick, right? So they brought down the price of their driver, increased their technology a little bit, so now they're in there in the competition. So PXG is starting to have this name for themselves. Mira's wood program is basically horrible, and unfortunately for them, but their irons are outstanding. Very, very soft, very, very they're very, very competitive as far as quality goes. Are they a very quality product? Yeah, the answer is yes. However, some of as you're seeing now, you're seeing Mira Geiken is out there, and some other offshoots of the Mira brand. As we get going forward and the lofts start getting stronger, and they still have those playing looks in their heads, the ones that still have that playing look but have the older lofts will most likely be left behind, just because they're the same club and easier to hit, and you're hitting them further, so why not, right? But as a quality golf club, Mira is very, very good. PXG is much more modern in their design, in their manufacturing, in their builds, right? They and they go all the way through. He spared no. Mr. Parsons has spared no expense in putting all this stuff together. So do I believe it to be a quality item? Yeah, it's a quality item. Again, the first generation, I'm familiar with the first generation, and I will say it's extraordinarily soft. So if you're playing a lot of golf, I would certainly suggest playing or getting loft and lie adjustments about once every 3 months. Because I mean, a guy from West Virginia brought me some, and I told him, I said, dude, I just looked at these things really hard, and they bent on their own, and they are that soft. I mean, they really were. So hopefully that answered you. Do I like them? Yeah, they're fine. Are they worth the money? It depends on how deep your wallet is. Here we go. Curious to do a review on cheaper brand golf clubs from like Giga Golf, a company in Florida. Very nice clubs, perform well. I know of Giga Golf. I've heard of them and I have seen them. You're right. I have not done anything with them. However, would you hand me the 6-iron that's in there? That one that's sitting the stop. Turn to your right. That one. That's on the shaft. That one. Yep. Little direction. There is a review coming. Just what you're asking is just not Giga Golf. Now, if Giga Golf wants to send me something, I'll certainly review it because it's all about getting the right golf club. I'm more about the fit. It's just that, let's face it, the marketing is what they are. The OEMs spend a lot of money on marketing, and so you see them and everybody says, oh yeah, these are great, and they are good golf clubs. But are there other ones out there equally as good? Yeah, look at New Level, right? Eric has started that company. It's now 3 years old, and and he makes a great iron, right? He makes a great iron, and that last wedge he put out is something else as well. And he's a one-man band, and he's getting it out there. So is it to say that there are lesser ones out there? No. But here's one that's coming out in the review about that guy. Look who makes this. Huh? Maltby. Man, it still has wax on it for me putting it together. Sorry about that. And oh, it's because I still have the wax on. I haven't pulled it off yet. But it's I got to put the Acura Tour shaft in it. We're going to do a review. And what this is they just released this in left-handed, and it's a player's distance model. Like I say, a low offset, very compact head, supposed to have some technology in it. I'm still talking with Britt on what they did, and so we should be good. Okay, what else we got here?
Someone asking about opinion on Motley clubs.
Here we go. Quantify good, Joe. Good. I'm not sure what we're talking about. Good, but good is everything for me, and good is I'm a bang for buck kind of guy. So if it does what it says it does, and it's in a price range that most people can afford, then it's good. If it over delivers, then it's excellent, and that's the way we go with that. And like most people, right? Under promise and over deliver, and if they do that, then they go to excellent in my bag, and that's what they're doing. We got one, and Betna, I think it's Bettinardi. So Ricardo Bettinardi, know the guys in Bettinardi. They're out of Chicago. Very good group of guys. The sun is taken over, and you can see where some of the more modern stuff is coming out. I really dig. I'm not sure how they got around it, but they got a lot of custom millings, and some of it's the Kool-Aid Man. And I golfed with some guys that were big-time Bettinardi supporters, and they had this thing, and the thing, it was kind of funny. The one thing I really had against Bettinardi was that the feel was hard. Right? They used very hard metals, and no matter the milling that they put in there, the more milling they put in there, the softer it got. And so and they've got some really neat designs. Well, this guy brought out one that had the Kool-Aid Man smile in the eyes and stuff, and I got to putt with it, and it was extraordinarily soft. It felt great. So again, they're in line with the Scotties. They're in line with the PXGs, and they've made a push to be on tour. You've seen there's a handful of tour players gaming Bettinardis, and there's probably more than just a few out there. I would imagine. So we should be good to go.
Down to Justin at the bottom. I know you want my putter gin, Kool-Aid.
You're right. You're absolutely right. All right. So Mike M says, yeah, you know what? I just heard this too. PXG just had a massive cut in the 211s for a 7-iron set. It just puts it just, what is that, 30, so $90 a club maybe. That's pretty doggone good. Now the 211 is the first gen, so keep that in mind. They've put out some new stuff that looks really really cool, but it's just keep that in mind. But they're nice little clubs. What else we got? Yep, here's another one we're talking about it.
How do you know?
Here's another one. What club do you drop the NL irons and switch to the hybrid irons? Well, it depends on your capabilities, truly. For me, the highest thing I carry is a 5-iron. Now, again, when you're getting into stronger lofted clubs, it becomes the ability to strike the ball well, right? It doesn't have, and your swing speed. Those two things are really important once you start getting higher in the irons, because as the swing speed gets slower, it's harder to get the lower lofted irons higher in order to get them to do what they do. Otherwise, you hit this bullet, and then hybrids become important. So somewhere between the 5 and the 5 and the 4 iron for sure. If you're really unsure about your quality of strike, maybe into the 6. Which takes me into something else with hybrids, right? When you get into sets, they're going like, oh, you need a 3 and a 4, and then start with a 5 going down, or you need the 4 and the 5 and the 6 and get in the 7. No, all right, absolutely not. When you're at the top end of your set, it's all about ball go far. I mean, how many par threes are you guys hunting with 4 and 5 irons? Right, not very many, and so take a space, right? Take a space. So if you really need the 5, fine, get the 3, the 5 and the 3. And then that way, that club takes up so much more space. The 3-iron, so you can choke down an inch on the 3, give it the same kind of whack, make it go shorter, and you're out there if you can get it out there. That's what I would do. Now, if your gapping is such that, again, I just did one with another fellow where we did some Mizunos, that it turned out that the 4 and the 3 were what the guy needed, and because he was looking for specific distances, and that's what he got from that. But if you're just going out there and you're going to, give yourself some space so you can choke down, and leave some room in your bag, maybe at the bottom end for another wedge, something along that lines. Booyah! What's my Maltby clubs? What do you think right there? All right, so Maltby has really stepped up their game. Guy that really designs with them is Pete Callaway, and he's a kind of unsung hero in the game, but he is very, very good, and he's just a super nice guy too. And they go on the idea of trying to keep the price down, and you in the U.S. as a whole is, if it doesn't cost a lot, it can't be that much money, and this is certainly not the case. Somebody in here was talking about the TS1s and the TS2s or whatever in there that were really nice, and they are very nice clubs, and they're in the same caliber as the 790s. Okay, the same caliber, and you get to customize them your way, the way that you want them. It's quite refreshing to see that. Again, they struggled in the driver category as well, but in the last couple of years, they've come out with some things that really, really work. And so I wouldn't sell them short on hardly anything. Now, the last thing that honestly they're working on is putters. They've got that X Factor type putter, and they're very, very large, and they're very, very loud in their color, which, depending on what age category you're in, that's very cool. But and I've putted with a few of those guys have gone to the school, and then they've come down and visited me, and we've done some tweaking on some stuff, and I've had a chance to hit those, and I believe they're aluminum milled as well. And you can tell, but it's got a soft feel. It's just a little bit big. I think I'm becoming more of a traditionalist when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'll send you. If it's left-handed, brother, we're good. If it's not, I can't help you. I mean, I can fix it, but as far as doing the review, I'll have to check that out. Alrighty. Whoop, I missed it. I missed it. Here we go. Here's the TS1s. They're very good. There's Justin. And you know it, man. That damn Kool-Aid putter is freaking neat. Uh-oh, here we go. We're jumped right straight out. I hope so, man. I hope it's killed next week. Dude, it wouldn't bother me a minute if this thing disappeared off the planet in the next week. I mean, there's too many bad things that are happening as a result. Of course, people die and that kind of stuff. But you know, when it comes to it, we all like golfing, and we've seen struggles with golf courses closing, and we really need to get them back open so we can get out there because you know even the doctors are saying fresh air, sunshine really help get rid of that kind of stuff. So very good. There's Matt. 7 hybrid. Matt, you are just the absolute outside the norm kind of guy, and that's the reason why I like you so much. All right, let's see what we got here. This is a big one. Is it possible to extend the standard M4 iron set with KB? Okay, extend this 7 and create a D2 swing weight. Well, I would imagine, yeah. The so you want to go 3/4 of an inch longer than what standard would be, and still stay at the D2. And if it had a standard weight in it, yeah, you're probably. In fact, you might actually be a little lower. All right. It did kind of give you a case in point. I extended a set of. Oh, I just shipped them. The some Mizunos, the MMCs, and I had a 100-gram shaft, went a 1/2 inch long. However, I put mid-size grips in them, and they came out at D0. So yeah, I think that's very possible. What do we got here? Okay. Well, you saw when I was doing the clean out, you basically saw most of it except for the irons. So that's going to go back in for a bit. Uh, and I heard my wedge shafts just are getting shipped, so now I need Georgia to open up so I can get my wedges and we can finish those up. That's going to be some fun. Here's a good one. Does Cobra make good drivers? The answer is yes. Yes, they do. They make some very good drivers. That speed zone that's out there, it was kind of a surprise, right? The surprise from last year's model, you kept hearing swing the ball speed, that they were right up there in amongst all the big names, and they were, right? They were. But why did it not take off? And there's the question. I don't know. Now, it could have been because of that ugly yellow, but you could get it in a custom color. That could be it. I believe Shields gamed the Cobra last year. And I don't know if he's gaming it this year. And if he's putting it in his bag, you know, chances are it was working for him, and he's quite the player. I don't know why they don't take off because I've seen some of their iron product is very good. This Infinity face that they've got, everybody's got a name for the same thing to get it out there, and they've taken the forged approach. And I like the fact that they're out there taking chances, but they just need to work on sustainability. But yeah, they make a good driver. Hey, look at my sisses on here. Game improvement wedges, Cleveland. What do you think of them? The CBX, you know, I had some of those in there. The CBX with the wide sole and almost the V on it. The V, I got to get over here. The V sole on it. If you're a thumper or like a buddy of mine, Chopper's got a chop, they're great. They're great little clubs. Uh, and they're very aggressive in their profile, so they do create some spin. Now, what you really have to keep in mind is when we get to wedges, a lot of people think all their wedges are forged. Well, that's the furthest thing from the truth. Cleveland, Vokeys, Callaways, all that stuff, not forged. Most of them are soft metals. Now, the CBX, if you put up the CBX against the other Cleveland product, there is a noticeable field change. And that's just because it's a harder steel that they're using. But yeah, it's really good. Look at here. There's my sis right there. Way to go, kid. Thank you. Uh, the ones that fit. All right. And for you, I got to cut off 1.5 inches. All right. So, but yeah. and the ones that fit. All right. What's in my bag? How many clubs total do you have? And do you have a backup driver? Well, as it just so happens, I do. And my number of clubs in my bag are 14. And I carry a driver, 3 hybrids, irons, two additional wedges, and a putter. And right now I've got the Maverick CZ, the Sub-Zero, and I have 3 Epic hybrids. That's 2 years ago. And now I have some Maverick irons, but the new levels are going to go in the bag for a while. And I have an MD4 and a Phil Mickelson grind, and I really like the Phil Mickelson grind. And I have a Peretti putter, and I have a new Bird of Prey putter from Toulon or Odyssey. That's because I'm a Star Trek nerd and I like Bird of Prey. But it does work. It really does. It's a very nice putter. And I found out for me, it's all about the grip. I put that Garson grip on it, the teardrop that makes you hold your thumbs like like this, right? They're not 2 thumbs, but they get in there like this as you grab them, and it gets around. It's very big. It's very good putter. I like the putter thing, so it's really nice. So so that's where I've got my backup driver is a massively old Callaway. It's blue, and I don't even. It's a it's a Big Bertha, the original Big Bertha blue, and that's my backup driver right now. Okay, I think I got some away from. So here we go. Courses are opening up again. You know what? I got a buddy in New York that does custom fitting over there, and he just announced that he was opening up because they let the private ones open up. Good for him. He's just a solid guy and very good. All right, Kurt, let me know, man. Here we go. Toulon. I have met Mr. Toulon more than a couple of times, and I have to say he is one class act. Very knowledgeable. He's very, very knowledgeable on the putter and all the things putters. Okay, you got to think this guy's gone back as far as he's with TaylorMade for a while, and before TaylorMade, he was with it was a gray and black one. I can't remember the name of it. But it was also a very good putter. Him and 3 other guys really put them together, and then they all kind of went their separate ways. The Spider, you can account the Spider for him. He's the one that helped come up with that, and that's been a very popular design. The Toulons are, and Mr. Toulon will tell you that the actual Toulon putter itself is squarely aimed at Scotty Cameron. All right, the Scotty Cameron is a high dollar putter. So is the Toulon. You get in and go into the Toulon garage, and you can spend a lot of money, and so you have to be careful. Again, if you're going to do that, be fit. It has a feel all its own. Again, he had the face on there is that diamond milled pattern to give that hard metal a softer feel and a different sound. He's always about the sound. And so, yeah, you would, if you got one, I would think that you would enjoy it completely. No, not really. We're talking about, and this is always a question that comes up in fittings. Now, if your 4-iron and let's say, so your 4-iron and your 3 hybrid have similar lofts. In most cases, I will say in most cases, that the hybrid of that same loft will hit further. All right, will hit further. Normally, when you see those, is that you're in players. You're either in a players hybrid and game improvement irons, or the other way around. All right, and well, not the other way around. Just normally, it's the way it is. And the way hybrids go, hybrids are made to hit the ball further. You'll see that the 3-iron or the 3 hybrid is probably not just a ½ inch longer, but an inch longer. And so you're going to get more of a pendulum. You got more shaft going around, and it's easier to get the ball. So even if you make a mistake, it's easier to get up there. And if you're hitting it further, then fine. If it's in the distance that you want. Now, if you're hitting in the same length, then that's a problem. One's a tomato steak, right? So you need to get rid of that. What is the profile difference between VTS Tour Spec and Tensai Orange? Well, I do know about the VTS Tour Spec, and the Tour Spec comes in multiple colors, just like the Tensais come in blue and orange and black and silver, and I think there's a green now. The VTS is more of a even in the tour. What Tour Spec means is if you were able to go out to Maltby and buy a Tour Spec red or a UST VTS red or black or silver, and you went and got a Tour Spec of the same thing, the Tour Spec would be longer and the specs would be tighter than what you could normally get in at the aftermarket. Okay, that's the difference there. The Mitsubishi, the Tensai, they have some dealers, but I don't think they have those types of programs. So we get what you get. And the Tour Spec, the VTS, well, let's just say VTS model, is been a the silver, the red is the higher, the lower, it has a lot of torque, higher ball flights, easier to hit type stuff. Silver's middle of the road, black is low. So the Tensai Orange is probably somewhere between the silver and the black. So if you had some of that, hopefully that helps you out. Hey! My doorbells are working. All right, I got ahead of myself. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Have you hit the new K4 from Maltby? No, they don't come left-handed, but I have seen them, and I really do like their look. Like I said, they've really upped their game with that. I probably need to get up there and have Britt or Britt probably do it. Britt is a player. All right, hopefully I hear he's on here in another name or whatever, but Britt is a player. That dude can drive the ball. I don't care how old he is. He's got game. He's probably playing to a 3 handicap right now and can just belt it. I ought to go up there and just have him hit it for you guys. Well, thanks, bud. So the certificate, what I did is mine was a long journey, but in every case, I believe that when you do any kind of certifications, there's education that has to be had, and wherever you can go and get it. Now, right now, GolfWorks has a litany of classes that they can offer, and and I would start with them. They have a basics, and it goes all the way up to an advanced shaft lab, a shaft course, and some of them are 3 days, some of them are 2 days, some of them are 5 days. And I've taken the 5-day course, and I've taken a master's program, which they no longer offer. And you can't ever go wrong with that. You always learn so much more than you intended when you go to those things. Then when you go to that, pardon me, my dog's playing with a ball. And then when you're done with that, you can find there's some club making organizations out there. I'll throw my hat out for the ICG, the International Club Makers Guild, and they have certifications in order to become certified people in those organizations. And then there are, in each vendor has a way to, and they're all about their own product, mind you, but they're always something to learn when you go through their testing. And every time they have it, so Callaway has a university, Wilson has a university, Mizuno has a training program. I've done them all because they always, whether or not, you're looking for there's always that bit of information you learn something new from, and then ask around, right? There's all kinds of these places out there, but that's where I would start first. Hawkman from Buck Rogers, you damn right. All right, high toe or PM grind or the new Cleveland one. Well, based on the fact that I got a PM grind in my bag, I'm going to go with that one. However, I just did some filming with the high toe and the new forge from Wilson. Both are very nice to be sure. The forged only comes in left-handed, so I had, you guys remember Mark, he was that guy that was hitting 200-yard 6-irons. He was killing it. I had him hitting it too, so it was good. Dude, I hope so. I absolutely hope so. I hope it's earlier. I hope we can get out there and we can do that. Can you change the grip on the stroke lab? The answer is yes. And how would it change how it works? Well, if it's like for like, nothing. The weight in the stroke lab is actually in the shaft. So if you had a putter grip that was of the similar weight and only the right size, chances are nothing. If you went one with lighter, it would give you more of a head feel, right? Because you've just taken a lot out of the grip and it's going to throw all that weight to the head. And if you're one of those people that likes that, then that's where you would go. Now, like I said, I changed mine with the Garson grip and it was very comparable. I didn't notice a change whatsoever, and it made the putter just work really, really good. Apex hybrids. If you're a good ball striker, Apex hybrids are pretty good, right? They have a. I'm real funny about hybrids and shape, right? There are some that got really big boxy toes and some that look like fairway woods on sticks, and I'm not about that because hybrids got to be hybrids. They got to do that job. Got to get you out of the junk. Got to be able to be easy to hit to get out of there, and so they have to be. They can't be this big around. They've got to be a certain shape for me. Now there are other people out there that hit that thing and just kill it, and that's the reason why we do fittings. However, if you're a good ball striker, Apexes they're a very good a very good hybrid. Brent Billings, look at here. The Epic Flash and the Maverick. In reality, so here's what I will tell you the physical differences between the two. All right, the Epic Flash has a slider, that weight that slides up and around the back. The Maverick does not. All right, they both have AI faces, so there's an equal. However, the Maverick sounds can be loud, and what they did in this one is they made it. They took sound into consideration, and it sounds, in my opinion, better. Does it perform better? Uh, if you had bought an Epic Flash and you wanted to come in and say, what do you think about the Maverick? Could I gain you a yard or two? Yeah, but is it worth buying a brand spanking new driver over? No. No. All right, because the face on this thing, because they both have the jailbreak technology, they both have the AI face, although they're a little different in design. But what they didn't put out last year was it was actually a fairway finder face. It brought you around, and this year they're telling you the same thing, that it is a fairway finder, and it is nice. I do like the taller shape. The Maverick has a bit of a taller face into it, or a taller look, which I do like a little bit better. So, but when you sit down, you look behind it. And to the point, I just did a fitting, again, it was a couple weeks ago, but tried the Maverick and didn't work. I put them in the regular Epic Flash and smoked it. So there is a way that it looks, right? So, yeah. So to make me switch, I really like the slider. Because it's a tweak. I'm not a tweaker per se, but I'm a big time adjuster. And once I get it there, it never moves. And that's what I liked about the Epic. All right, what we got here? Huh? 2 minutes? We're getting close, guys. Thank you for all these questions. I mean, this is phenomenal. I sit here all day and I read this stuff and I don't get to talk to anybody. It's like talking to a bunch of buddies. All right, live chat. Here, take a minute. If you are here, take a minute and like the video. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no kidding. If you tip a shaft and then add a flex extension, will they cancel each other out? That's a heck of...
Someone's giving a shout out to me.
Hey, shout out to Robin. Way to go.
Scott from Cincinnati.
Scotty, will they cancel each other out? If you tip it and you put in the shaft extension, chances are it will still play stiff. All right, so this one's going to be, for what my 1 hour, I wanted to keep 1 hour, we're going to go a little long. Now, when you tip it, everyone we say we tip a shaft, it makes it more stiff. Why does it do that? That's because there's more butt section. All right, the butt set, because what's happening is when you extend it, when you trim it on this end, you put more on this end. It's a confusing situation. So it's just easier to describe when you tip it, it makes it more stiff. Okay. So when you tip it and then you add it in there, you're actually adding more butt. So the reality of it is that it actually could become more stiff uh, when you think about it. But no, it doesn't cancel each other out. All right. Where else are we going to go here? I hit my 5 hybrid as far as my 3 run a 2-3. No idea. Uh, well, here's the deal. Now, I will say this. We'll keep going quick. Most golfers are not inclined to hit a fairway wood and a hybrid equally. Okay, not equally. As a whole, we'll say average golfers, right? The average golfer will tend to go to one, will kind of gravitate towards one or the other. And it's mostly, if you think about it, if you are really good with your irons and you hit hybrids very well, chances are you're not going to hit fairway woods very well. But the opposite could also be true. If you hit your fairway woods excellent, and you can go and keep hitting those smaller fairway woods, just like Matt, he's a perfect example of that stuff. And then you get down there and you get in your irons and you say you strike your irons okay, and you want to you stop right around that 7 or 6 iron. Well, maybe you're a fairway wood guy, all right. And so fill your bags with the one or the other, and that's the reason why I carry 3 hybrids and no fairway woods, because I can hit my 2 hybrid as far as I was hitting my 3 wood. So I'm right there with you, bro. Yeah. The CB line is a player's club, is a player's cavity back, and that's the reason why you don't hear a whole lot about it. Is a quality built club. Titleist does not make junk. They make a great golf club, but it's a very hard to hit club, and most clubs that are you have to be big ball strikers. You don't hear too much of because the average person doesn't buy them. But yeah, it's a nice club for sure. Oh, here's one. Do I know how to re-whip a woodhead? The answer is yes. Yes, I do. It was one of my very first certification tests. I actually had to whip a club, and fortunately, that was one of the things they were teaching us at the Golf Work School at the day. It's no longer in the program, but yeah, I do know how to do it. In fact, I have both the regular stuff from the 70s and the pitch what you see on the Woodwoods. I've got them both. Yeah, old guy with this stuff. Uh, Chrome Soft, and because the soccer ball, I like the soccer balls, but I've been playing ERC as well, and I've been asked to test some Wilson Pros, and I'm going to do that. You're more than welcome, sir. Loft and Lie. Here's a good one. I love this question. So if you're playing, if it's a forge club and it's soft, or even a forge club and you're playing a lot, let's say 3 times a week, I would say somewhere about every 6 months, right? Because not only but just this ball striking, but when you tick it and you're flipping it and you're bouncing it off the ground, if you're one of those guys, and a nervous weight when you twitch and stuff, then yeah, about once every 6 months. Specifically, if you are very serious about playing, the guys that plays in a lot of tournaments, and your clubs have got to go just so, right? Every 6 months to be sure. If you don't, if you're just if you're just beating it around, then you can go longer, right? Maybe at least once a year then at that particular point. There we go. Robin thought that was awesome. Thank you. Well, graphite is basically it, bud. And yes, carbon fiber. I play like I just showed you. I mean, I like graphite in all my irons. So yeah. There's Derek. What do you say, bud? Hello. So we got to the end. Robin, look at that. Robin's getting ready to go mow. So that's my cue. So we got through it all, guys. Thank you for all those questions. It was phenomenal. I do appreciate the questions, and it keeps me asking myself questions in order. We all need to get better at whatever we do, and so one of the things I really want to do is just get lower than Matt one day on a score, and we'll go from there. So again, I got one more. Alan is asking me. I know Alan's been around for a bit. Uh, if you're playing a lot, you might replace them every other year. If you're playing them a lot, and it depends on the conditions. If you're playing in sandy conditions, your wedge is going to get worn out faster. If you're playing in places like I play, where it's very grassy and stuff, you probably go a lot longer. So you got to just check your wedge. If the ball stops checking, it's time for it to go. All right. I am still looking, bud. I really am. I more and more I look at this, I do. Oh, one last thing, guys, before I go. Tom Wishon. Tom Wishon has put out a book. I showed you last week about My Life in Golf Plus. We're from Ralph Maltby. This week, Tom Wishon has released a book. It's called Captain Clubmaker, and it's not the fact that's what they used to call him back in the day. So if you get to, I think it's at Diamond. You go up, well, just go on the Tom Wishon website. It should be there, and it's a very small book, and you get to see some of how he got started. I've been reading it. I'm into about 50 pages of it right now. It's a pretty good read. They both are, but I know both of them very well. They're very nice people, and Tom is a character for sure. So there you go. Again, if we're still doing this thing right, if you guys think it's a pretty good thing, we can keep doing something like this even after the virus thing is done, unless we're all out there playing in our in our leagues and whatnot. But again, we will do it another Monday, because I'm pretty sure we'll all be still closed next Monday. Pardon me. And we'll do it again at 5:30 again on Monday. As always, guys, let your scores go low.